Dreams deferred is when schemes occur. Some nights I prayed so long I felt my knees would burn. So thankful that my God has met my knees in turn. But times I wonder if I ever get the things I yearn. Chosen one, never thought I had much need to learn. Hope someone would give to me the things I need to earn. Uncommitted to the things that ever seem too stern. Live to quit, rarely winning, steady victim to the sentence. Still in prison to the menace of the cycle, unrepentant. The weight can't hold our head up, golden shackles hold our penance. Of slaves are now the kings, while pass the chains to our descendants. While we still abuse the fame to bring us shame through our remittance. Just to glorify the things that bring us pain for all the bliss. And blame the world for our destruction while we're void of all remiss. Ain't no fathers in our homes, self-deployed disarmament. Marching, fighting for these boys. Imagine if they fathers did sacrifice to raise a kid. Imagine if these daughters did break the cycle, not do the things they single mamas did. Marry first before we carry. We devoid the drama then. Communities would be stronger. We would have less drama then. We'd be raising stronger men and see less working mamas then. Making others rich when they should be home working on their kids. Life uncovered, so work's all the security they get. Another child in daycare who don't know how to play fair. I remember wondering why I even had to stay there. Man, I miss my mom when I ain't been alive for 3 years. And the chest is where I used to lay my head to cry these tears, breastfed. But now bedtime's the only time she's ever near. As I grow up, life's a mess, little more drama every year. Learned to bottle up the pain, used the condom for my tears. Still I'm working through the shame, feel the karma on my heels. Trying to break into this game with every ounce of hope I still addicted to the chains. Every ounce of rope I feel. Feed my vices when I'm broke till I feel like my soul is healed. Treated like a great escape, I can't die before the thrill. Acting like we tough just so you won't take time to know the shield. Please don't call they bluff, this youngest waste no time to hold it still. To cap your whole jaw bling, I guess it's time to mold your grill. Since your hotep king get mummified and put the rest when this abortion thing gets nullified, we gon' be blessed. Glad the court's been cleaned of all the violence on the left. Let the trumpets sing and hope the sorrow pours the wealth. So the unclaimed kings can hold the power for my hell. Let's confront these things, they know the crime, reform the jail.
The biggest issue facing Black America is father absence. We have children that are growing up without their fathers in the home, and that is being incentivized by the government right now via the welfare system. When the government says we'll give you more money if you don't marry the father of your children, you are incentivizing bad behavior in our community. What happens when you remove a father from the home? This is why I do not mess with feminism at all. I'm not with it.
The feelings I let dwindle in a dark place. For healing I surrender to what God say. Stay winning, haters live to see my octane. The ignorance and their feelings make my heart ache. Communities hurt, they turn their back on our faith. They kill our unborn children through the pathway. But sell them on the black market, that's a dark web. Tune in and address the strategy for all fails.
This breakdown and mocking masculinity, making it seem like there's something wrong to be a man, all of this contributes to the breakdown of family.
messy like toilet paper. Let's go. Yeah. Been waiting a minute for this one.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I have a new intro I wanted to play, but we'll just play it afterwards. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to my channel, Family Values, where we discuss all things marriage and family. Today, I have my handsome husband, Driscoll, here with me today. Would you like to introduce yourself? What do you have going on your platform?
I don't got nothing important going on. I'm, as she said, her husband. Some people know me as Phil. Some people know me as Driscoll. You might have seen me pop up on the channel here and there. And I'm just ready to get into this conversation.
Okay. So, for those who don't know me or my name is Jasmine, and like you said, his name is Driscoll. And today is Marriage Monday, so we will be discussing today sex and marriage. That is a hot topic and a very important topic when it comes to marriage. We will also be discussing finances in marriage and our roles in marriage, and however this conversation leads us. So, I'm gonna just jump right in and ask you the first question. Is there ever an excuse to withhold sex in a marriage?
You know, my answer is going to be a no. I think the common thing we would see with this conversation is that the men would probably agree with me and the women would probably disagree. So I would love to hear your thoughts, even though I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say.
Right. You know what I'm going to say is absolutely important in marriage. And honestly, I believe it is the one of the biggest foundations in your marriage. I mean, you're not really married until you consummate that marriage in the first place. And that's why you can get annulments if you didn't, and all these different type of laws that give you outs for that if you haven't consummated. And that even shows the importance of sex in marriage. A lot of women just feel like it's not that important, and they feel almost like they get annoyed, like, why am I reduced down to sex? Why is it that men get married so they can have sex, and it's not being reduced down to sex? I don't believe that's the right mindset to have. Honestly, if you really think about it, we want a man that's going to provide for us and take care of us. So if there was a time that he said, I just don't feel like it today, I don't want to pay the bill, the lights are going to go off because I'm not feeling emotionally there, you're going to have a problem with that, because that's something that's important to you in that marriage, that is foundational and is key. So I believe that sex is, one of those things that's just foundational and key to marriage. You can't just up and say, I'm not going to give that to you anymore. What was the point of getting married in the first place if that's not what you're going to get out of it?
Right.
So I've also recognized, and I don't know if you have as well, that there are times when sex could bring you closer and kind of heal situations or arguments or even just resentment that you may have towards each other. Do you ever recognize or feel like it could be a good tool?
I think it's always a good tool in marriage. I think it is suicidal to withhold sex, especially if you're using it as a weapon. Because of the reason you just said. It's what draws you closer. It strengthens the bond. So like you said, if we're going through something, We'll see women all the time say, well, I'm not feeling it. I don't like him right now. Or, I'm not in the mood. I got to be there mentally. Get there mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you got to do, because at the end of the day, you withholding that is going to do more detriment to y'all's marriage than the place that you're at now.
Right.
It's not going to fix it. They think they can fix a man by leveraging sex against him, and you only going to make him resentful at that point. Versus, if y'all can be intimate and strengthen that bond after a difficult time, that can help rekindle the flame and bring you back to a place of understanding.
Right. And I like what you said. It could grow resentment. And I want to expound on that just a little bit, because a lot of women feel like they have the leverage. Their leverage is their sex, and that is how they are going to manipulate their husband and control him. So what they don't recognize is that the more that you display that you don't desire him, the more that you reject him, the more he's not going to desire you in return.
Exactly.
The more he's going to look elsewhere. And I'm not saying it's okay to cheat, but it opens the door for that temptation, because all it takes is for a woman to show that she desires him while your wife at home doesn't. Your wife at home is saying, no, don't touch me, I'm in a bad mood, or I'm tired, or whatever, while this random chick is like, wow, and all of you. And that could create resentment towards your wife, because I could be out here, single, doing my thing, but I'm giving my life to this woman, and she can't even give me the basics of marriage.
I like that you said the basics.
Right.
Because like you said earlier, you combating the argument that I don't like that I'm reduced to sex. No, that's not reduced. That's the basics. There's so much more to marriage, yes, but sex is the basic principle foundation. When you say, why did he get married for sex? You're kidding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because the unfair reality in that is that most men, when they get married, are signing up to be with you, that one woman, for the rest of their lives. So when you withhold something like that after someone made that kind of commitment, like that's violent.
It's violent.
Yeah,
it's violent. It's inhumane.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I heard someone describe it that way, that it reduces the man down to almost a animal, like you're trying to train him by withholding a basic need that he has as a man. So,
and even on the topic of stepping out and temptation, there's enough temptation already. You don't need to withhold sex for a man to be tempted. All he got to do is get on Instagram and scroll a couple seconds. Temptation is everywhere nowadays. So at that point, that's not even a scare tactic type of narrative. It's just foolish. You're just playing a stupid game. And when I hear women talk like that, I immediately recognize she just lacks wisdom.
Yeah.
Because there's no way a wise woman would ever even dabble in that type of nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of these women dabble in this nonsense rhetoric and mindset because the men that they would allow it, the men that they would bow down to it, and
go there,
and they're crawling on their knees, baby, please, I'll do anything just so you can have sex with me. But that's your wife. You shouldn't have to beg your wife.
So what should he do then?
He needs to discuss this, and that this is error. This is not okay. It's never okay to say no to me.
Right. I like how you said that. It's never okay to say no to me. Somebody's ready to cringe already. Because like you said, most men aren't going to talk like that.
Mm-hmm.
When they're dealing with women, they're tiptoeing. They're afraid of the options that she may have. She, typically has the leverage in the dating market nowadays. And men are scary. Mm-hmm. And the idea of just telling the truth about your expectations, like a gentleman asked me, how do I get ready and prepare for marriage? I'm dating somebody that I think is suitable, but I just don't know this and that. And I could tell what he was getting at is pretty much the manosphere talking points, almost talking him out of seeing the value in her. And I was just like, look, bro, if you're looking for somebody that's going to give you the manosphere blueprint, you came to the wrong guy. There's nothing about my life is a manosphere blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
We broke all the rules.
Yes.
So the only thing I will tell you is that if this is the woman that you want to work with, This sacrifice has to be on both sides, and you need to point blank period tell her your expectations, and don't give her the opportunity to decide she don't like it after she says I do.
Right.
Lay it all out there.
Yeah.
Don't get into a marriage and then your first time talking about sex is when she come home tired from work. Y'all should already laid that out before you got on one knee, in my opinion.
That makes sense, because that prevents the confusion later, prevents the resentment and argument about it later, because she's like, this is brand new. I didn't know this is what you expected of me.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. It's very important for a man to make sure that he makes it clear to her ahead of time. But I also believe that women need to understand the nature of a man and try not to shame him for wanting marriage for those reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very natural. It's very normal. Just like hypergamy for us is very natural and very normal. We want someone that we know that's going to protect and provide for us. And that man in return wants to know that he has something he can lay with every night. And, you know, like
at least.
at least.
Yeah.
And a lot of women, I've heard, I mean, just the other day, one of the women, a woman on my post was talking about, what about when our hormones are imbalanced and we have all the, you don't know how I feel, and
almost rolled my eyes off the screen. You know how I feel about that stuff.
Right. Yeah. He's not trying to hear that.
None
But at the end of the day, ladies, we have control over that. We don't have to surrender to the fact that our hormones may be imbalanced. It could be fixed with a quick Google search, and look at remedies. Like exercising actually helps your libido. It helps balance your hormones and release the certain hormones that will allow for you to be more into it. There's so many other things like maca root. And then my biggest thing as well, when I hear women who say this, I feel like it's just an excuse
90% of the time.
And they're not really having issues. The bigger issue is the way that they see their husband, and they're just not turned on by him anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Because I've never heard of a woman that was single in her hot girl summer not get turned on or feel like it suddenly when the opportunity came to have sex when she was in the streets.
Yep.
It's thrilling then. Mm-hmm. It's only in marriage that men have this issue, or in long-term relationships. So I love that you touched on that, because the hormone thing can literally give women a 1-week excuse every month. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe even more than that.
Yeah, because there's PMS and then all of that before and after. Yeah.
And then pregnancy. Oh man, poor guys. Some dudes will literally not get no sex for the whole 9 months. You remember I had a brother on my post recently was like, yeah, she can't have sex during pregnancy anyway. And I was like, bro, I don't know how to break this to you. But somebody did you dirty if she told you that, because doctors encourage sex during pregnancy.
Yes, it is good for you.
Man, so it's an amazing question here. I don't know if you want to address it. I don't agree with scheduling sex either. I find it not to be natural, says Marley, December blogs. Thank you for the comment, Marley.
Thank you. I don't disagree with you, but I don't agree either, because I think there's sometimes that you may have to schedule time or quiet time with your husband, especially if you're really, really busy. But I could see how, if that is the only time that y'all do something is when it's scheduled, I could see that being a bit of a turnoff and kind of like robotic in a way. But at the same time, if this is the only way you can get it in, if you got to schedule it and just work on that mindset. Like I was saying earlier, like I believe in God, and I believe God loves marriage. So my biggest thing is, if I'm having hormonal issues, I'm like, okay, maybe I can just train my mind to see things differently, so my body will react to how my mind is reacting to him. So I will pray.
That's science.
Yeah. So I will pray, like, God, help me see my husband the way that I'm supposed to see him. Help me look up to him and see him in awe if that is the issue, which I'm usually always seeing him in that way. But when I pray that and really start to allow God to change the way that I see my husband, the attraction is there again, and I can look up to him. I think a lot of women are acting as if they're equal to their husband, and this is what kills that flame. When you see yourself equal to your husband, how can you naturally be turned on by that if you can do anything that he can do?
Well, those are usually at that point, those are the women that start to replace him with toys.
Yeah.
And he's just an option and not a need in her life anymore.
Right. That's true.
Did you want? Yeah. On that point about scheduling sex, I think I'm inclined to agree with her. Mm-hmm. I get your point as far as like knowing, okay, this is our time, but to say, hey, at 8 o'clock, let's get it on, that's not gonna work for me. Yeah, that's not gonna work for me. So okay. I understand the compromise though of knowing that, this is our time. Hey, we put the kids to bed at this time so we can have us time.
Right.
But I like the mystery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of can relate to what she's saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pregnant sex is the best. Listen, if you don't want kids, you're missing out. I don't know. Somebody
it's the
ain't tell
safest sex
you.
Ever, right?
Worry-free, full of hormones. It's excellent. That's the way to do it. And that's the way to keep them coming.
Yeah. So the next thing, I'm going to give you 3 words and I want you to list them by importance, being the first one. Love, respect, and sex.
Respect, sex, then love. You set me up with that.
Yeah, because those are all very important, right?
That was a good one.
Yes.
That was a good one.
So, do you believe that this is what most men think or feel?
I struggle to speak for most men after getting in these spaces because I'm mind blown by the things that I've learned every day. Mm-hmm. So I can't say.
Okay, say from a perspective of most masculine husbands, protective providers.
So most men who are marriage minded.
Right.
Yes.
Respect.
At least the respect part. Maybe the sex and love can interchange.
Okay.
I don't think sex is important to every man. Or as important, equally important to every man.
Okay. Huh.
I don't know. I'm just shooting from the hip though. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong. I would love to hear somebody else's thoughts.
Yeah. What's your opinion in the comments?
Some men are looking for the connection more.
Okay.
From what I hear, unless they just be capping.
Let's see.
Marley said, yes, that's what I'm saying. I dislike scheduling sex at 6 p.m. because it feels robotic. I prefer for it to be natural desire and or occurrence. I 100% agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
What's your order?
My order. Love, sex, respect.
So respect is last. Mm-hmm. You don't really care about respect.
I care, but not as much as the other
it's
two.
Still the top 3.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could still love you and want to have sex with you if you disrespected me that day. I could get over it. I think it's different for men, though. I see that it's much harder for y'all to get over disrespect.
It may be hard for us to give or display love.
Okay.
Without respect. I don't think it's hard to have sex.
Oh, yes.
It just may not be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's why I said I think sex is important for most men, I think.
I dig it.
Yeah. So do you think this order is due to your biological needs or like a societal thing? This is just what you were taught and what the environment breeds.
I think the sex part is biological. I think the respect part.
Hey, Celine.
think the respect part might be environment.
Might be the environment. Okay.
Actually, I'll take that back. Respect might be biological too, but maybe a little bit of environment. I think the love part is completely environment. That's why I say some men might feel different about that.
So you think love is environmental?
In the way that we're talking about it. When you say love, what do you mean? I guess that's what should have been asked.
True. I mean,
Affection.
Okay, yeah. I mean, affection, a level of loyalty, and a level of intimacy outside of sex, like connection.
Yeah, I think that's environmental.
Okay.
Because if you weren't raised with that, like it's people out here that don't like to get their own kids hugs.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess you don't really need it to,
or maybe they need it. And they don't know that they're hurting or longing for it. You know. But I think the only thing I would say is biological is sex, and the respect, I think, is just, it depends on what type of man you are and the dynamic of your marriage. We say all the time, if you're in a 50-50 marriage, you're not going to get the same respect usually that you would get when you are the provider. And I don't think that that's an issue with most people.
Yeah.
I think if I believe we're equals and we're presenting a dynamic that reflects us being equals, why would I feel disrespected by equal treatment?
Okay, I see what you mean. It just depends basically on the man in his mindset.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like the level of sacrifice that you bring to the marriage as a man could dictate the amount of respect you desire.
Okay. The level of, okay. So it's earned at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think all respect, respect is earned. Yeah.
Okay. So it's more so respect is societal, and sex is biological, and then love is either one. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Love is environmental to me. I mean, and we all need love, but I'm saying in the way we're talking, the affection, the display of it. You know, if I had to do without one of the three, I would do without the display of love before the other things. But I also feel like sex is displaying love,
right? Yeah,
to me. So
yeah, love is definitely, I think, for most women, very important. Yeah, on the top, we want to feel cherished, loved, put on display, you know, all the things.
Celine said, I also think within the bounds of marriage, sex shouldn't be mechanical. It should be a place to explore with your husband or wife different things within the marriage bed. Ooh, Celine getting saucy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that alone. She continues to say, a lot of times in churches, although it should be kept PG, I think people talk about sex within marriage as too rigid, where any type of pleasure is shunned, where it can create an unhealthy mindset. All right, Celine, you're gonna make us go there.
Yeah.
Let's go there, Celine. What do you mean? I would love for you to elaborate. We all grown, hopefully. If you are under 18, maybe you should go ahead and exit at this time. And ask your parents if it's okay that you watch the replay under their guidance.
Right.
Because I don't know exactly what you're getting at. I have heard of some church sectors where it's like you only supposed to do missionary position and oral sex is a sin and things like that. I'm of the belief that the marriage bed is undefiled. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do with my wife. But I'm also of the opinion that everything is just not desirable to me. Some things, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to be around the bush.
Just go there.
I would love to ask the audience, how do y'all feel about porn within marriage? And while those comments get in,
and toys.
Porn, toys, and, you know, pleasuring one another with outside influences within marriage. What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't know if that's where you're going, But I'm just trying to see if you could elaborate. In the meantime, we can get some more comments coming in.
Right. And I'll just go ahead and give a little bit of my opinion, and it's just an opinion. I don't really know if it's scriptural, but what I do know is everything that feels good may not be good for you. So yes, your marriage bed is undefiled, but I think there's a level of purity you need to keep that will not allow you to desire more or wonder more or to get pleasure from something else other than your husband or wife, like toys. I know a lot of married people do and use toys in the bed, and I'm no one to judge. If that works for y'all, fine, but I'm under the belief that that could become dangerous, and it could become something that becomes a need, and you need that, and then your husband or wife can feel left out, could feel some type of way about that. I think it could create issues in that manner. And then when it comes to porn, I don't believe we should be opening our minds to things outside of what we have going in our bed, because like I said, the more you see, the more you desire more and want to test out something different or whatever it may be. I think you have to protect the purity in a way.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I love Marley's comment. No one's gonna tell me what to do with my husband or how to do it. I 100% agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to do porn, I'm gonna do porn.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with her answer. Personally, I don't think it's beneficial. In the times of the past where I did watch porn, I developed an obscure idea of what sex was supposed to be like. And it made my relationships difficult because I'm holding the women that I'm in relationships with to those standards. And they never agreed to that. They didn't sign up to be a porn star. And the people on those screens aren't always really having fun half of the time. Mm-hmm. So we're taking something that's not real and trying to translate it into something that's precious, and it doesn't really translate most of the time. And I'll be the first one to say, now that I'm married and I'm at peace with myself and know who I am, and I'm one with my wife, and like I don't have any pressure to try to perform or impress her, I'm not looking to have sex for 2 hours.
No.
Sex to a degree is a ministry, and it's business. We get the business done. We connect, we love, we cuddle, we go to bed, we start our next day. It's not a competition anymore. Mm-hmm. But that's how it was in single years, when you felt the need to live up to what you were seeing other people doing in the media and on the screens. And I don't think it's a good thing. And even on the toys matter, this is not me being judgmental. If that's what y'all do and your marriage works, I'm not a God to judge you. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if it's a sin.
Right.
So that's not what we're here to talk about. I'm just talking about preferences. Mm-hmm. I don't want to compete with nothing battery eyes doing this. My thing doesn't do that. You know what I mean? That's just not, I don't see that beneficial to even bring that into my life. I want you to have the utmost desire for me and me solely. And I think it's important to maintain that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, for women, y'all have the benefit of knowing that there ain't really no toys out here that can compete with you. The reality that you bring, there's no substitute for. So it's easy for women to get lost in these things more than men do. Not to say that men don't masturbate and things like that. Of course, that is a popular thing in men as well, but it's a little different with the things that they invent for you guys' pleasure. We just don't have those things, or nothing that can even compare.
Right.
Thank you, Off the Beaten Path.
Hey, sis.
Yeah, we appreciate you for coming by. They had an amazing show together. Mm-hmm. Go check that out on Off the Beaten Path's page. Celine said, like a lot of times people make things like missionary sex is the only position acceptable, or oral sex is wrong with the marriage. And they never talk about the wife's sex drive. Do you think that the pulpit is the place to talk about the wife's sex drive? Just a question. Um, but I get your point. If your point where you're getting at is that culturally the church they're definitely shy about the topic of sex. This is a taboo. And then on top of that, when it comes to women, modesty is expected for a wife.
Yeah. And
So the idea of glamorizing female sexuality in the context of the faith, I can see where that's hard, but it does need to be understood that women do have a sex drive. Women should desire sex within the confines of marriage. The other issue and caveat to that is that a lot of times in the churches, it ain't a lot of women in there that's married.
yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think conversations like that is better with an all women crowd and a woman teaching. Maybe a female Bible study, something like that. But like my husband said, wives are modest. We're supposed to be modest, and it's a bit immodest to speak on these things in front of everyone with without your covering.
Exactly.
So
because now I'm gonna just expose myself of being real, and I know there are men out here that are gonna relate. If I'm watching your channel and you and your wife talking about the positions that y'all put each other in, I'm going to get a visual picture of what it is like to lay with your wife now. That's the issue with that, in my opinion. And I'll leave that there because I'm not trying to offend nobody. This is just me talking my opinion.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, just because my channel is to give wisdom to wives, and as a wife, it is important that you make sure that you're not talking. I know we're grown. I know we understand that this is just something that God created us to be, but still at the end of the day, we have to show a bit of honor and respect to the fact that my body is no longer mine. It is my husband's, and I don't need to display it or really talk about things on that level with other people, especially without him there. So,
but I definitely think one thing the church should encourage is open communication within the marriage.
Yeah.
Between the couple to say, hey, this is what I would like to do. Tried some new things, whatever, whatever your marriage takes. I tend to be more simple, but I understand that everybody ain't me. So I think you got to communicate that with your spouses.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why there's marriage counseling and things like that people do before marriage. Hopefully they touch on sex and the need for that.
She said, porn is too unnatural for me. It's like watching wrestling compared to Greco-Roman wrestling, WWE wrestling compared. Exactly.
Yeah.
The real thing and the fake thing for those who don't understand. It also contributes to human trafficking. That's a whole nother topic.
Wow.
Go there.
Yeah.
Marley says, point corrupts the eyes and mindset of what sex is supposed to be between a husband and wife. I think she meant porn. I 100% agree. That is my stance as well.
Yeah.
Porn. Yep. Okay. Celine says, also by my last comment, churches, especially the strict Baptist churches, when the topic comes up, they ignore the wife's sexuality and they act like the wife is supposed to take it no matter what.
I don't get what
Take what? Take what?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to answer assuming that's not really clear. You do your thing. It's your show.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let me read it again. Also, about my last comment, churches, especially the strict Baptist churches, when the topic comes up, they ignore the wife's sexuality and they act like the wife is supposed to take it no matter what. You mean that the wives should not be saying no to their husbands? Is that what you mean by take it no matter what?
What she's saying is the wives have to accept their sexual desires being ignored.
Okay.
I think that's what she's getting at, but she'll clarify.
Okay.
Marley said, I was raised Baptist, so I get where you're coming from, Celine. The Baptist church can be very strict. Absolutely. Off the beaten path. I think she agrees with our stance on porn. Mm-hmm. Marley says, especially independent fundamental Baptists, whole different breed. Listen, we got a whole show on religion.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh almighty.
Yes, it's a lot to do with religion that gets people a lot of confusion on how to move forward, especially in marriage. For some reason, it seems like a lot of people don't in the church don't really understand what the scriptures are really saying. But so since we have off the beaten path here right now, I have a clip I would like to pull up of our show that we did. When was it? Like a week and a half ago, and to segue into our next topic about the roles of a housewife and what it means to, serve your husband.
Yep. And before we get there, she did just respond, "Love you too, family." Yeah, the wives' desires seem to be ignored, or anything non-vanilla is shier away, especially in women's groups if it's discussed in a tasteful way.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a woman. I don't get the wives' desires. I just feel like your desires should be for your husband.
Yeah.
What is the desires? And maybe my wife ain't gonna be real because I'm sitting here. Maybe that's a private conversation. I don't really understand. Because if you're saying that there's women in the churches whose men don't want to have sex with them, I gotta question those women, because I just don't know a lot of men that want to sit around in sexless marriages. That's weird to me.
Right.
I would have to assume that woman is probably very obnoxious, and he just don't want to be around her, much less get in bed with her.
Right. Yeah. Because your attitude can very much so turn a man off.
Yeah. Now, if it's one of those things where she wants to use toys and he doesn't want to, or things like that, I think that might be
maybe something to discuss before getting married.
That's a great point. How much do you discuss about sex before you get married?
Yeah.
Do you discuss how you want it to be done? What your expectations are? Do you go into depth about it? That's an amazing point.
Yeah, I think that's important. That's that one.
Sex can't even shut a woman up. Word.
What? Word. Celine, you funny girl.
Celine getting in. Enlist spokesperson. What's up, family?
Hello. Some people make it seem.
Yeah. Oh,
hey, Brandy.
Okay.
Hey, I didn't see you here.
Hello, Brandy. So yeah, I don't know. When we start getting into the sex stuff, everybody got I just would caution to not bring expectations from singlehood into marriage, because this is where we get into the tough discussion. This is not advice that I've taken, nor my wife, obviously, but this is the advice we're giving our children. I don't think it is beneficial to have a culture that says, let's play in the streets until we 33 and get married after 10 plus years of tacking on trauma and relationships with people who did not love you and give you the proper things you're supposed to gain from marriage. It leaves you broken. It leaves you with false expectations of what marriage should be like. And I don't think it's fair to a lot of future spouses to be expected to live up to some of these expectations people develop in the streets.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It could definitely taint the way that you see sex.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just like we were saying with porn and toys and things like that. Too much experience, I believe, can actually, hurt the bond.
That's why people say, well, when we talk about teaching our kids to be virgins till marriage, well, if you got to try before you buy. What if it's not good? That's how you know you have a trauma mindset. If you never tried it, what do you mean? What if it's not good?
Yeah.
What are you comparing it to?
What are you comparing it to? Exactly.
The first time y'all do it, it's going to be what it is, and y'all learn together. Yeah. That's how it was intended to be. But because we doing so much before marriage, that's the only reason these conversations get difficult. Sex and marriage is muddy because of what we did in the streets, if we all the way real.
That's absolutely true. And a lot of these issues that we're having, and not with withholding sex or not being turned on by each other and all these other issues, are due to probably our experiences.
Yep.
And the fact that we, it's not new. It's supposed to be pure. It's supposed to be something new for you guys to only you to have. So that alone could, stimulate your mind to really be turned on.
I've heard, this is a wild story. I've heard a married guy complain to me that his wife won't let him have sex with her without a condom. Because in her mind, the idea of his semen is disgusting. I don't think that's a mindset you develop unless you have lived a lifestyle of risque, casual sex. And this is all you know.
What?
It don't even make sense. The natural way is now disgusting. But it's enjoyable with a barrier.
Wow.
We can go all day on how warped people's mindsets get, that's just the reality of
Dang, I mean, I've never heard of anything like that.
Yeah, man. Dude was hurt, man. He was like, gosh, I don't know what to do. She won't let I'm like, bro, I don't have no advice for that.
Right, what in the world? Like, did he not know this before he married her? And that's why it's so important to have these conversations. Somebody said in the comments that what did she say? Someone said something about how it's deterred for single people to talk about sex with the people.
Got you. This one. Yep. Okay, some people make it seem, like sex should not be talked about before marriage. Brandy, you just shook the conversation up.
Yeah.
Because I'm perplexed with this. And this is why. I got daughters. Do I want some guy, before he put a ring on her finger, talking to her about how he wants her to serve him in bed?
You're right. Maybe that should be a conversation once the proposal is done.
Okay. I think that's a fair compromise.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just acknowledging I may be in the way of my daughter's success with this idea as a dad, but I do like that compromise.
Right. And I don't think you are. I think there's a level of protection you still need to cover your daughters, especially if she's giving her feedback on what she wants.
Right.
And what if he decides no, now she's giving that information to another man. Right. So I could see why you're going to have to show that you're actually committed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a conversation that I just want to be a part of a date.
Right. A regular date. Yeah. There must be some trauma there.
So you want to get into that clip or you?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So this is a clip that me and Off the Beaten Path did. We did a show a couple of days ago or a week and a half ago. And I got some interesting comments from it. And we're just going to watch it and go from there.
Like my husband, I've been with him for 7 years, going on 8 this year, Lord willing. And he has not, I can count on one hand how often he's washed the dishes. I don't expect this from him. I don't expect him to cook. I don't expect him to wash dishes. But for some reason, I feel like people are expecting women to do all that, plus be the caretaker of the children, plus on top of that, go and work 40 hours a week. Like it's just unrealistic, and something is going to suffer.
Absolutely. Because when you get to stay home, you get more rest, you're more healthier. And not to mention the mindset of my husband takes care of me. Yeah. So there's going to be a different level of respect, honor, and appreciation.
Yes.
So if you have to help him, yes, you can still honor and appreciate him. You should. But at the end of the day, it will be more of a struggle.
That's difficult.
So let's talk about it.
That's intense.
Right. A lot of times I see a lot of people in the manosphere, a lot of men who are complaining about women and expect a certain level of servitude, a certain level of submission from women. And they, this is what they're preaching about. This is what they're harping on right now. And when you get to the bottom of it and you really start to pick the brains of these men, or maybe ask a question or say, are you going to be a provider? Are you going to take care of her so she can do that? A lot of times they feel that it's dumb for them to take care of their woman, and that their woman should be expected to be everything that a housewife is while she's working the same hours he is and paying 50% of the bills. And I try to explain to men that that's not optimal for a woman, and you won't be able to get the level of service that you would get from a woman that you take care of. So what do you think is the biggest problem with modern men today, and why they feel that they should be getting the benefits of a traditional woman without being a traditional husband?
It's called reverse feminism.
Yes.
That's why they're trying to combat feminism with the literal exact ideology that's being presented. It ties into the sex conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times what I hear is, I'm tired. If she been working 40, 60 hours a week, maybe she is tired, especially considering that sex ain't as much of a need to a woman as us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of folks will look and say, man, I love your wife. You're so lucky, this and that. Where do I find them? And I'm like, bro, I found her the same way all the other places every other woman at. And then I developed her.
Right.
And I think that's the part that everybody closes their laptop on. Mm-hmm. They don't want to believe that part.
Yes.
They want to say no. They're leaving.
Yeah.
There must be a recipe that you're not saying. And the recipe is Jesus
mm-hmm.
and patience. Because at the end of the day, they're not tired. Those are lies. At the end of the day, there are things that men naturally desire, respond to, etc. And the same goes for women.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change these realities.
Right.
For instance, you got the same issue in the manosphere where they're trying to explain to women, hey, men are absolutely repulsed by the idea of you being a hoe. Some men are repulsed by the fact that you have another man's kid. I don't want to take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, then the reality is, if a woman is 50-50, she has to go out and fight traffic and do everything that you have to do because you depend on her for the bills. I'm not coming at the fact that women are earning money, but you depend on her to pay half of the bills. You're not going to get the level of honor as someone that say, baby, I got it.
Exactly. And it's just natural.
Yeah.
You can't be mad at us for it's a natural reaction. Like I said earlier, there's a mindset that you have to keep. Like, I look up to my man.
Yes.
He is something that I appreciate and look up to. And those feelings make you be a better wife to him. But if you
and those feelings fix the sex issue.
It fixes the sex issue. Yeah. Exactly. With your libido or whatever kind of issues you may be having. And when you are coming home, bringing in 50-50 that he depends on, that is when you start to see yourself as equal to him. Yeah. And you don't start to look up to him anymore. You're like, we doing the same work. And half the time I'm doing most of the work, because when I come home, I'm the nurturer, I'm the mom, I'm the cook, I'm the maid. So not only do I see us as equal, but I feel like I'm superior to you because I'm doing more than you. And this can create issues in the bedroom. This is create resentment and her respect not being where it should be. And she's slipping out of the mouth, even if her intention, she don't want to be that way, it is going to be more of a struggle for her to properly respect you like the man that you want to be respected as.
Amazing comment right here. Off the beaten path says, someone said they didn't want their woman to work because it would harden her. I agree with this. The women in my family who do it all are exhausted and it shows. Show me one example of a difference.
And they hard.
The same goes from the women in my family. hard to the point of obnoxious. You got to do them in pieces. They run every man in their life away. This is a real reality. This is a real reality. I don't think women were meant for that life.
No.
A woman was not meant to carry that burden of my house falling apart if I don't hustle.
Exactly.
And when you put a woman in a position that is not what she is psychologically and even biologically inclined to do, you're not going to get the best product. There's no way you can have her out here competing with men for position in a workplace environment and then expect her to come home and be soft Betty Crocker.
Yeah. That's just not.
It's always going to be an imbalance and a fight for her to stay in her proper place.
Absolutely. And I've even, like I said, to Gwen on our show, that there's studies that show when women are working and she has to pay her bills, she literally creates more testosterone, which creates more of a hardened person, more masculine ways. And then the men are mad and annoyed with her because she's coming in the house competing with him, and she's not as soft as he wants her to be, and it's not all the way her fault.
Listen, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. This ain't even just a women not respecting men thing. When I was a kid, and I say kid loosely, I wasn't really a kid, more like a teenager becoming a young adult. I dropped out of high school when I was 16, got my GED, went off to like this military boot camp program. That kind of gave me a second chance at life. And when I came back, I was 17, didn't have to go to school no more. I'm like, I'm going into the workforce, baby. Like I'm a man now.
Right.
As soon as I start making money, my mom wants me to pay rent. I'm like, cool. But then that means I don't got no chores no more. Perfect example.
Perfect example.
I felt like if I'm paying my way to be here, how do you tell me what I have to do? I got the right to do what I desire when I feel like it.
Wow. And that was you as a
17
child.
years old.
So imagine what a grown woman feels.
Come on, man.
And people don't, well, a lot of women don't like to hear this, but men, you need to keep this type of leverage. It's called leverage, and that's okay. You need to keep this this hierarchy, the authority that you carry with handling the finances will allow for your woman to stay in her place.
And it doesn't mean extravagance. It means be honest, lay down your reality and the way your life going to be. If you are a man and you already got your own place, I don't care if it's a 1-bedroom apartment, you already putting food in there, you're already paying the bills, then that means there's a place for her. I'm not saying you got to give her a mansion in Beverly Hills and buy her a Gucci bag every time she feel like she need a new one. That's not the point.
No.
I'm talking about basic necessities being taken care of here, just to be clear, because everybody gets lost in that.
Right.
When they start talking about what can't be done in today's world and it takes two and all of this, it takes two because you want too much.
Yeah.
Most of the time. You want to have 2 fancy cars to keep up with the Joneses. You want the neighbors to see you got a whip just as fly as theirs. You want to pull up to the parties, the cookouts, and around your people, your colleagues, and your co-workers, keeping up with them. When if somebody's at home, all you need is 1 car for the family to travel together in, especially if y'all ain't got no kids. And if you do got kids, hand-me-downs.
Exactly.
Moms at home doing homeschool, even better. That means that's twice a year where you normally would have to buy school clothes en masse is no longer necessary. Only how they need an outfit is when they go places on the weekends or whatever y'all do, church, whatever.
Yeah. And then meal planning, when you're a housewife, you have the time to do certain things like that. So
Eating out is dead.
Yeah.
Eating out is dead. You got a family now. Like, why do we act like we just have no idea how to live outside of materialism today?
Yeah. And it's getting in the middle of marriages, and it's really sad that marriages are ending today because they can't get the car that they want. They can't go on the 2-3 vacations a year that they want, he's not a provider because I can't do this. That's not what you call
Listen,
a provider.
point
Yes.
blank period, the straight up God honest truth of the matter. I haven't bought a single pair of Jordans or fancy sneakers since I had a kid. No cap.
Mm-mm.
Am I lying?
No, you're not lying.
Since she gave me my first child, I have not bought a fancy pair of sneakers.
Mm-mm.
It no longer matters to me. If you see me in a new outfit, it's because I got a video shoot. It's because I'm doing a show somewhere where I'm going to be on display. I got to have a few suits because I'm a wedding DJ. That's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, on my day-to-day, I ain't flexing for nobody. I'm a dad. Who the hell we trying to impress?
And I'm a housewife. I don't go anywhere unless it's with him. And if we got date night, he'll splurge on me a little bit, get me a outfit, but I don't need a lot. I don't need a lot of clothes because I'm home chilling, relaxing with my family.
Absolutely. We had one car for the longest. I just bought a second car 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. Just because it got to the point where we work, our family's so big, I needed her to be able to get to the hospital or to the store if there's an emergency. Mm-hmm. But even then, I bought it cash. I didn't get nothing fancy. I got what we could afford. Yeah. Great comment. Shalom always thought women should still be what their husband needs, and understanding that sometimes, especially in today's world, the woman will have to work. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts is, if there is a season where I would have to work to step in to kind of help, I'm all for it. Yes. But I don't agree with that being the end goal. I don't think that should be the end all be all, even for the man's sanity in pride. I think you should, I think a lot of men kind of don't reach their true best self because they lean on the women in their lives too much. I think if he was put in a position where he had to get it and wife needed to be home with those babies, he's gonna get it and he's gonna build even better than what he would have if he had her help.
Take the rug from under.
Yeah.
That's real. That's real, because for me, I know I only better developed as a man, as a leader, as a problem solver, when you began to say, "You got it, babe. I know you're gonna get it. Mm-hmm. I'm praying for you." Versus, you get the woman that feels the need to step in and show that she got you and I can help fix this. Even for the longest, my mom was that for me. Mm-hmm. My mom, that was her way of showing love, being able to step in and help me with things that I'm lacking at. And I do believe that stunted my growth. And that's not her fault to blame. Mm-hmm. She was doing what she felt was the loving thing to do. But for me, I had to turn the blinder to everything. I had to know that my family is leaning and dependent on me. Mm-hmm. For me to develop. I got to have the room to make a mistake and know that if the lights get cut off in here right now, that's my fault. Mm-hmm. It's not for you to go out here and fix.
Right.
That means whatever I got to do today, I'm going to go make it happen. Mm-hmm. No questions asked. And sometimes you ain't going to know what I did. Mm-hmm. You just going to know that the lights came back.
I ain't going to know. And I can respect that. Any woman will respect that, to know that, okay, if things went awry, he's going to fix it. And there's no need to have to be stressed out. Oh, I need to step in. He's failing as a man. No, you just got to have trust in trust in God, first of all, but trust in the fact that he is a problem solver. And even if you are afraid in that moment, I think those are the key moments that you should be slow to speak and just be peace. Just be peace, because that alone will encourage that man and inspire that man to believe in himself when he probably wasn't at that moment.
And all of these things all tie back into sex, because when you're starting to have that stress, feel like he can't take care of things, he ain't good enough, you allow yourself to go down that path, half the time that's what's making you not want to have sex with him.
Yep.
You'll lose honor in these moments. So I get the heart of what Asaya was saying. I do think, let me go back to it. She went to Proverbs 31. Lord help me. I know where that's going. I always thought women should still be what their husband needs, and understanding that sometimes in today's world, the woman will have to work. I do agree that if that's the situation, she should still be what her husband needs.
Mm-hmm.
She should. What we're saying is that it may be more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
We could talk about what should, and we could talk about what is. And in my experience, I have yet to really see many examples of women who successfully did that.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, when I see the dynamic of the working woman and her man, it's cringe, and it makes me feel like I would never want to be that man.
Mm-hmm.
I never look and say I envy him.
Mm-hmm.
I never look and say, man, he's lucky.
Right.
I always look at how they interact, how she speaks to him, their dynamic, and say, oh, you like it, I love
it. So it's just, you don't even want to go down that path.
Yeah. I've never felt like, because we talked about that on a couple shows that I've been on. Shout out Black Men Unfiltered. He's in the comments on his show. The boy Freezy had brought it up. Mm-hmm. And he said to me specifically in regards to you, mm-hmm. that's what we look at as men. We'll look at the way the wife treats you, the way she honors and respects you, and we're going to judge you as a man on that more than we're going to judge you on what you actually do.
Now, I'm going to pause right there. That's a gem, ladies. Did you hear? This is coming from a man that is saying that another man told him. Men are judging your husbands based off of how you act.
Yep.
So that's why it's so important to recognize that and behave accordingly.
Yes, 100%. She said, even when I worked, I still cooked and cleaned and tended to his needs. Women are strong. We are able to do this. Think of Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 was not a career woman. That's the way the church is flipping that. That's not the reality. Now, in regards to you working, still cooking and cleaning, amazing. I think that's awesome. And I'm not being sarcastic. Shout out to you. Mm-hmm. But most modern women aren't doing that. Mm-hmm. We're speaking to the majority and not the highly exceptional women like yourself. Mm-hmm. Most of them are going to come home and complain that he didn't help with those things.
Yes.
They're going to be mad that they have to do it. They're going to say, when is it your turn to do your part of it? Mm-hmm. So if you were capable of doing all that and being happily married, you need to be giving out wisdom and lessons to other women who want to be in your position. Because what I'm seeing is women that don't want to be in your position. They want to be able to be the working woman who can now have the leverage to say, now you get on your knees and cook and clean.
Yeah.
Because that's beneath me now.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's a perfect place to segue into the next video.
But real quick to clarify, because I said something about the Proverbs 31.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that she sold things, she brought in income, all of that. Excellent. But at the end of the day, nothing said that she was a career woman that was not inside of the home. Mm-hmm. She did not work outside of the home. You know what I mean? She went to sell things at the market. Cool. But that's not a day in and day out career where she's making other people's rich. At the end of the day, she was supporting her household and not making another man's company rich. And what comes later in that chapter is the type of man that she had. He was well known and respected in the city. So that gets talked about or overlooked too. The men always want the Proverbs 31 woman, and they miss that she had a man that cultivated her, who was well known and respected. Right. They want a Pookie and a Ray. They just got the best woman out there.
Right. And if you really look at what she was doing, she was on her own time. She had servants to help her. She had her children with her. She was not leaving her house and her children to not be taken care of. She was ahead of that. So she managed the home still. Right. She managed and told her servants what needed to be done. And when she had time, she would go to the market and sell the things that she made. But those things take time to make. She's at home for the most part, making those clothing items. And I'm sure she's most likely having her kids be a part of that.
And to top it off, In order to have servants, that means that her man was wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the everyday woman.
Right.
We got to stop using Proverbs 31 as the blueprint for the everyday typical woman. This was the best of the best for a reason. That means the best of men get that. That's just being fair all across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But every woman with a career is not a Proverbs 31 woman. There's so much more in that chapter. Let's stop that.
Yeah. Everybody got fed. A lot.
But on that note, like I said, there has to be a situation in place for that woman to be able to be who she is. And that situation was put in place by that man who was well known in the city gates. It did not say she built the wealth to be able to get maids and servants. You never seen an Old Testament Bible women walking around with their own wealth. Mm-hmm. That was not a thing.
Mm-mm. Yeah, she needed money to buy that land. She needed money to buy the cloth that she was using to make these very beautiful clothings. Like, this was all a family business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brandy said, I'm a single mother of 5. I work full time, and even now I'm exhausted. I could not imagine having to come home to my husband to serve him wholeheartedly. I pray when God brings me my husband, I won't work. Brandy, thank you for the honesty.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be honest nowadays for some reason. Mm-hmm. They want to act like they can do it all when they've never even tried it. Most have no idea what it really entails. You do. Mm-hmm. You tried to do it all.
Whew, I did, and I'm thankful for the experience because it makes me so appreciative to the position I'm in now. But when I went back to work off of just my own insecurity of being a housewife, I wanted to bring value, and I just felt like I wasn't. Went back to work. It was the dumbest decision I've ever made in my life. So much suffered. My house suffered. My marriage suffered. My children suffered. They weren't as confident. They were always missing me. Just it affected our family so much. And then at the time, he was working night shift. So when I would get up in the morning to go to work, he was home with the kids during the time that he's supposed to be resting. So that whole scenario was a very selfish move that I made.
The part. And he had to take you to work and pick you up.
Well, yeah, if I missed the bus. Yes, he picked me up every single day from work. And I had the nerve to have an attitude when he was late picking me up. And he had to pack up all the kids in the car and come get me. It was a very silly thing that I did. And I'm thankful that he allowed me to make that decision and go back to work, but he did it so reluctantly. But I think he knew the end result would be me begging to come home.
Yeah, I don't even remember what my mindset was then, but yeah, I'm glad that that's a thing of the past.
Yes,
thank you, Jesus.
No.
Oh man. Off the beaten path say, yes, we live a very frugal life. 1 car, no. Come on, small house. We don't take many trips off the beaten path. Why are you our long lost sister?
Right, I told you.
And barely shop, barely eat out, don't shop much at all. People act like we lying, like this can't be done. Like people, what do they say wild things about us? Like we live it in the 60s.
Yeah.
Like, no, you
were delusional and all kinds
people
of stuff.
Forget that there is a whole America. The majority of the America is not the major cities. There's a whole chunk of country that y'all have no idea how people live on a day-to-day. Because y'all think all that matters is New York City, LA, Chicago, Houston, Atlanta, Miami.
Yeah, all the coast.
Everybody wants to live near there and adopt these lifestyles.
Yeah.
And act like there's no other options. When you talk about it's too expensive, this can't be done. No, you're choosing where you live. You chose to live in Los Angeles, California.
Yep.
These other states actually have more space than where you are at right now, probably.
Yeah.
Where your money could go a lot further.
Get some land.
Listen. I know friends in states that got 2 bedrooms for $800 a month.
So what do you say to the couples who are crying about the inflation right now?
It's a real thing. What you gonna do?
Yeah. Send your wife to work.
I mean, I don't believe that's why, because they were already sending her to work before that. If you sent your wife to work because of inflation, then I'll be quiet, because you the priest of your house. But I don't buy it. People are coming up with any excuse they can find right now.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you don't need an excuse. If y'all that dynamic, you want to work, that's fine. But all I'm saying is we got to be honest and understand that if she's working, she's not going to give you the kind of honor that the manosphere desires. They want old school honor, traditional honor, and not having the requirement of being a traditional husband.
Exactly.
That's not equality.
It's not.
Yeah. And the women that think that's equality blow my mind, because y'all are getting the shorter end of the stick.
It's so silly. That's why I'm like, you do not speak for me.
Yeah.
Feminists, y'all, empowerment, go do that over there.
To the men out there, I get why y'all fight me, because y'all winning right now on the low. If you got a woman that's going out here working full time and overtime and coming home cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids, brother.
Do you think they really winning though? Do you think their woman
is
treating them the way that a housewife is treating their husband?
They're not winning, because those are the men that create channels to complain about modern women. Exactly.
They're emasculated, they beat down, they tired, they want to divorce her but can't because it's cheaper to keep her. You stuck.
She gonna take half, which is wild to me, because how she gonna take half when she already paying half?
Now that's a caveat right there. Like, yeah, they just want something to.
I agree. As our husband's helper, that includes working if he needs it. But any good man will not want it long term. This may be controversial, but it's my opinion. Yes, I know men like that are like, hey, for now, our situation require it, but as soon as possible, I'm ready to flip this. Fine. There's a time for everything. As long as your mindset isn't, I'm not taking care of no woman, she ate my child.
Yeah,
I don't respect that. In my opinion, that's wild. And if that's how you're going about your life, fine. Just don't look at my wife with envy, like the stork just brought me something magical from the sky. This is a trade-off. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to say my wife is everybody's prize. I'm saying that a lot of time I'm seeing these people act like she's an anomaly.
Right. No.
And they don't want to accept that there is a part we play in that. And that's why when we look at other men's wives and how she treats you and judge them off that, it's because there's an underlying understanding that how she treats you is a reflection of your leadership,
who you are as a man.
You are,
because she gets to see the good, the bad, and the
she
ugly.
Knows what nobody else knows about you.
Exactly. And if she still is able to put you up here, that's why
that speaks highly.
Yeah. Yes.
Off the beaten path said, my husband needed me to work in the beginning, but he worked his butt off so it wouldn't be for long, because it says a man who can't provide for his family is worse than an unbeliever. He believes it. Amen. I'm all for that. And I appreciate that honesty. Yeah. I mean, there could very well be a time where I need that. You know what I mean? So I'm not shaming that if that's a need. I'm shaming the mindset that says I don't desire to.
Right.
That's problematic.
Or that's not my job. You're a grown woman. Yeah. But yet you want a certain type of treatment from her.
That's all I'm saying. If there came a time, that's a little dishonest, but I'm going to say what I was going to say. If there came a time where I needed you to go to work, I think it would be righteous of me to accept the reality that I'm probably going to or should develop a desire to help you around the house.
You should.
I know myself, though. I know I probably won't unless you began to argue with me and got contentious. And that's why that's not a value to me. It's not worth the trade-off. I don't want a wife that's tired when I want to get in the bed. Right. I want sex on demand. I will make the sacrifice necessary for that.
Right.
I don't want to have the responsibility to cook a hot, warm meal on my plate when I walk in makes me feel loved. It makes you more precious to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to trade off for that. I make the sacrifice.
Right.
And you are also making a sacrifice because I'm not a wealthy man.
Mm-hmm.
We have a big family. That's another caveat.
Right.
But you accepted my income and you made our life able to fit within it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we need more, then I got to get another gig. I got to get more hours. I need to build a business on the side. That's
Mm-hmm.
on me because that's just how I feel is the best way to get the best result out of our women.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And no one's saying that there's anything wrong with women creating some kind of income from home, creating some kind of residual, whatever could help at home. Cool. But at the end of the day, when, like you said, when it's depended on, that's when these issues can arise.
Absolutely. We got a lot of comments coming in. Sorry.
Okay. So
I would work because that was necessary, but I never cared about serving anyone but my husband. That's a big point too. At this point in my life, as patriarchal of a man as I am, I don't want my woman saying yes sir to nobody but me.
mm-hmm.
I don't want her taking orders from nobody but me. I don't even want her having to develop a submissive mindset towards anybody but me. I think that's also a dangerous thing that we play because if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it's the most, but a lot of infidelity happens in the workplace.
Yeah.
Where else are these wives meeting these guys they sleeping with?
They work husbands.
If she not just all the way wild and out party with the friends and going on girls trips, if y'all don't know how we feel about girls trips, let's move on. If she's just a typical everyday wife who just made a mistake, 9 out of 10 it was somebody she met on the job. Why even send her out there?
Yeah.
I mean, if we know the nature of a woman, the minute that there is a man of a level of status that she has to submit to, are you not already opening the door for her to begin
to admire
him and develop a sense of value for him? Mm-hmm. I heard Dame Dash say it, and it really made me think. He was like, he don't hire nobody but women because his wife helps run his business, and he knows how beautiful his wife is. Any man that gets to look into her eyes for 6 to 8 hours a day is gonna fall in love. There's gonna be a problem. He's not having no man working closely with his wife. Mm-hmm. And oh man, that's insecure. They'll kill you in the comments for that.
Yeah.
But guess what? The guys out here striving to prove to feminism that they're secure, they're the guys whose marriages are falling apart. They're the guys crying in their other guys' arms about the level of respect they ain't getting. Mm-hmm. They're the guys that's running to the manosphere for answers.
Mm-hmm. Because they're fighting their own nature. Men are I believe are territorial, and they're getting gaslit, being called insecure for having these sad feelings.
Salute, Mel.
Hey,
Appreciate
Mel.
you coming through, sir. Proverbs 31 is about a woman that does what she needs to do and more. Amen. Mm-hmm. That part, because somebody had to pay for those servants. Come on.
Yeah.
Why we be picking and choosing how we want to see the scriptures, man?
Yeah.
Top 1% men. Yeah, I don't know nobody with a servant. That ain't my circle. If y'all do, let me know how much those guys make and what they do for a living, because they're not my guys. Mm-hmm. So maybe we get a Proverbs 28 woman. But if you a common guy, why do you think you get the best woman? We got to stop the nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Common guy, not to mention that needs her paycheck.
Yeah, I thank God for my woman at the well. And thank God that we Christ believers, and he changes hearts and minds. That's just how we feel. I know that may not agree with the manosphere.
Right.
I think when you have Christ, your priorities change. You no longer want to be flashy or show off and go into crazy debt. Mm-hmm. Man, off the beaten path. You right. And I think that's so hard for people to understand because a
Mhm.
lot of people who say they have Christ do exactly those things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if maybe God just gives different revelation to us at different times, different seasons, or just some people are just in their own way too much to get it.
Yeah, I think people are so stuck in the world caring about what society thinks of
Yeah.
them. Man's opinion is what matters.
Man's opinion, gosh,
Yeah.
that's the enemy right there.
Yeah. Because you're never gonna please everybody.
Depends on the man. When I worked, I don't anymore. But when I did, my husband still got respect. He came before my boss. Amen. That's rare. Like I'm inclined to not believe you. I'm just being honest, because that's how rare that is. So if you did that,
Mhm.
you need to start a class. I want to see you with the channel. So
Yeah, because a lot of people ain't letting go of these jobs.
I'm telling you, I've challenged women on that, and they say, of course, I submit to my boss. He pays me. I'm like, oh, so your boss is superior to your man because he puts a check in your hand, but your husband gave you his life.
Yeah, that's bad. That's another thing that I'm recognizing. The value of marriage is so little now today. No one really, you were just saying it the other night, no one really listens to the vows that they're making. No one's really holding true to that and recognizing what you are saying to the world when you say these things. It's a covenant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's more to living in big cities that are social norm. My dad always preached to my sisters and I about living below our means. It's not like you had a great dad, Marley.
Yeah.
Man definitely has to be working too. Let's get into that. Let's get into that.
Man, how can you? Honestly, I feel like that's partially your fault if you're accepting a man's proposal that doesn't have a job.
Okay. I could buy that.
You know what I'm saying? Now, it's one thing if he just switched up on you after marriage, but why are you getting with a man who can't take care of you or himself?
I think point blank period, most women are going to divorce that guy.
Yeah.
He's on a limited time schedule.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not doing something. And again, let's go ahead and bypass the extremes. Obviously, if you get injured, hurt, you can't work, different story.
Right.
We're talking about an able-bodied gentleman who just said, I ain't going because you got it.
Yeah.
I don't care if my wife's channel blew up tomorrow and she replaced Kevin Samuels and made millions of dollars off this. I'm not sitting on the couch to live off of her. I feel like, and this is me, call me paranoid. I feel like as a man, especially a man of God, I have to always be in a position where my family and my household can live without relying on her. Because that's what the Bible says a good man is. I should be leaving an inheritance for my kids. Mm-hmm. At any moment, YouTube can go away.
What now?
At any moment, these servers can shut down. Somebody can hit the power grid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever the situation is, I need to have a backup on backup on backup. I don't think I ever get to chill and relax and say she got it as a man. That's just how I feel though.
Mm-hmm. Can we play the video of the older man talking about the roles?
Sure. Off the beaten path cooking. She said you spend a third of your life at work, a third at home, and a third sleeping. And I think that's expounding on the point about 70-80% of affairs stem from the workplace.
Oh, wow. I didn't know the numbers were that high.
So now when we talk about, I don't want to get married because 50% of them in a divorce. If you take care of her, maybe you end up in the 60%.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not good at math. Like I said, I'm a dropout. Mm-hmm. But I do think your odds get a lot better.
Yeah.
If 70 to 80% of affairs are happening in the workplace.
Yeah.
You and your spouse working opposite hours. You see your co-worker more than your spouse. Come on.
Yeah.
Half the time you know them better. You're talking to them more.
And then don't let you start to exchange numbers and doing employee outings and stuff.
Or start to talk about your spouse. But because I knew how work was and because I wanted to still serve my husband, I found a remote job. It's always a solution. Anything I could do to add to him, I just followed the vision. Amen.
Absolutely.
You can work and still be at home taking care of them kids.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
There is
We
a
find a way to do the stuff that's important to us.
Exactly. And
Women
sacrifice.
and more women are waking up to this beautiful godly truth. Amen. That makes sense. That's how men are. They want and need to provide.
Yeah. They need to be needed.
They-
I think that's a big thing. Men need to be
Expound.
needed.
Expound, please.
Expound. Well, a lot of times you hear women talk about how I don't need a man, I just want him. And they don't realize how much that is knocking you down on the dating list, because men want to be that knight in shining armor. They want to be your hero. And if you don't need them, that takes that away from them.
I just got good revelation of that.
Go
When
ahead.
you're a little girl, what do you fantasize about thinking about your life growing up?
Prince Charming.
Prince Charming. Now, you dreamed from the wee years of your life about the man that would sweep you off your feet
Mhm. And change your life.
and change your life. If it's time to marry me and you don't see me as that dream, we probably gonna be the bad side of that 50%.
Yeah, because it's gonna eventually come to a head.
Come on.
The show, it won't always be there. That mask is gonna come off.
Yes.
You're right.
And sometimes it's just changing your lens and your mindset, but
Mhm.
there has to be a level of reverence. If you don't need me, why am I here?
Mhm.
That's how I feel as a man.
Mm.
If I'm just an option or something you can have,
Mhm.
that doesn't feed me.
Right.
And that's how I feel in everything. I don't even want to work in a place that don't need me. The minute I'm easily replaceable to you, nah.
Okay.
It's time for a better opportunity.
So why do you believe that men are that way?
I don't know if men are that way. I'm just speaking for me.
But this is what I'm hearing
Okay.
on occurrence with men in these panels. They're saying they need to be needed.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it takes away our purpose. I mean, God, it seems like God needs to be needed.
Wow.
He's a jealous God, Otherwise, he would be cool with you worshiping the golden calf.
Right. Okay.
He know it don't got no power.
Okay. And men are the image of God. So that would make sense. You need to be useful.
Exactly.
In creating something.
I don't want you to look to that. I want that being the workplace, whatever your that is. I want you to look to me.
Oh, okay. And that's what I know that looking to you inspires you and makes you be a better man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting to think about, that men need to be needed, but honestly, women need to be loved. So I guess it's just one of those trade-offs. And
exactly.
One of the ways that women feel loved is being taken care of. So it all circles around and works together. It's such a beautiful polarity that today's women are trying to fight.
Yeah. The whole independent, I don't need a man thing, you might as well not even be dating to me. Because if that's how you talking, I can't see where there could ever be value for anybody to be there. And on top of that, as the man in that situation, I'm looking at you weird. Like, she's steadily, her Facebook bio, don't need a man, sufficiently independent. Everything is about not needing you, and you parading her around as your lady. I don't even get what you're getting out of that. That starts to make me feel weird for you.
You're saying looking at the man.
Because to me, it looks like you have no value then.
Right. Absolutely.
To the very woman you're giving your everything to.
Absolutely. I have these conversations online with women and I don't need him or he is my equal. And I'm like, you don't understand how that is making him look. Like you are displaying your man to be a very weak, unuseful man.
You know what I do when they get to do that? And this is usually when they disappear. I'd be like, oh, cool, tag him. I want to hear what he got to say. Well, he already know. Yeah. I'm like, cool. Well, why you ain't tagged him yet? Let him see how you talking.
Yep.
That I seen one girl tag her guy, and it was because she knew he wasn't able to see it because my page was private.
Well,
what does take care of me? What is taking care of me?
What does taking care of me? To me, being taken care of means that one, I'm not alone. So if issues do arise, I have a man that will step in to resolve it or find a way to resolve it, or at least give me a starting point and guide me in that direction. That's what I see as taking care of, and then of course, provisions. If when we were dating, there was a time where I ran out of gas somewhere and I'm like, I didn't have anyone to call. I had nobody near me. And I just hit up, hit you up.
So it's more than just paying bills.
Yeah, it's more than just to paying bills. It's like, when I had issues going to court, you stepped in, and when I panicked and don't know what to do, you were that rock, that stability. So I believe that all is a part of provision and a part of being taken care of.
Having the solutions, helping you see your way through things.
Yeah. I can see that. Two minds being better than one.
I can understand love translating as security protection for women, but I don't know. It is hard for me to put in words that love from a man is deeper than the provision he has. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just a form of showing love, but there's many. Love is action. So that's why I gave that example. That's one of the ways that a man can show he loves his woman.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're gonna turn on this video that segues perfectly into what we're talking about.
Which one?
This one? We can do both of them actually back to back, so it doesn't matter which one you start with.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna do this one first.
Okay. Okay.
So I got a lot of flack. I posted about, I believe that if a woman is going to be with a man, marry him, live with him, whatever y'all doing, I believe that he should pick up the basic bills, the house, the car, the utilities, basic living. If she wants to work, then her money can help with little things, but not no 50-50. That's roommate. That's a roommate. I know y'all gonna tell me this is not your grandfather's and all that. My grandmother actually worked, all right? But her money was hers, because I believe it's time for men to step up, all right? Ladies, and stop lowering your standard and let the man do subpar. He's supposed to be the lead. Let him lead even in the household with the finances, all right? No, if you share in 50-50, then it should be 50-50 everything you do. No, y'all decide that. But I'm saying, this is my opinion, all right? All those comments y'all gave me and all that, I know I'm gonna get them, but a man should stand up and be a man. You wanna be a man, let him lead with the bills, the basics. And then her money is her money to do whatever she wanna do with. You ain't gotta give her no allowance, none of that stuff.
So he basically said exactly what you said. The only thing that I like to pull from that I think we need to highlight, because a lot of women, I believe, have the wrong idea of what that looks like. When he said, her money is her money, that's the only thing that I believe could cause issues within a marriage, because what I believe is that your money is y'all's money. It's not just your money, and then what he gives is everybody's money. You see what I'm saying? That's unfair. I do understand having that extra money to be able to use on the things that you may want for you, clothes, kids, whatever. That's up to your husband. I believe that if he's going to be the head of your the finances, it's not just his finances he's ahead of. He's ahead over all the finances, even the finances that you've earned. So if there was a day that he said, okay, for the next 6 months, your check is going to savings, or I'm going to need this, this, and this for the down payment on this new car that we're trying to get, there shouldn't be a fight in that, is what I'm saying. Because a lot of women love to take every little thing they can out of these messages, and they can take this message and think that, okay, well, my money is my money and your money is your money. I mean, your money is our money, and that's just not fair. That's not righteous.
Off the beaten path is what you said. I agree. Any good woman is going to use extra money, YouTube, blogging, side hustles, etc., for the family unit.
Exactly.
Absolutely. It is not for you to go ball out and splurge while he sits at home scraping pennies, because he's doing every responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually know there are men out here that actually live like that, where their woman keeps her money to splurge and do non-necessities, and he barely has enough to go have a drink with the fellas.
Wow.
So that's a real thing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you pointed that out, because a lot of things can get lost in these conversations, and people would think we're representing whatever traumatized them when they heard it elsewhere.
Yeah.
I think this elder speaking truth. I also think it could be unrealistic in today's economy. This is giving women false ideas. The average man may not be able to do this alone. I disagree.
Yeah, and we touched on that there are ways, and you don't have to have all the best things in the world. So
I think if the average man has a place to live, then he's able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the average man is living with his mom, and I promise you, I'm not throwing shade. People live with their mom. Mm-hmm. If the average man is living with his mom, he's just not ready for marriage.
Exactly.
But if he has a place that he's already taking care of and paying for, why can't she move in? What's the difference? Maybe they got to get a little more food now. But what's the difference? He's already paying bills on a place where he lives. Mm-hmm. So I don't see that reality. I think people want too much.
Yeah.
And that's what we're not admitting.
Yeah. That's the reality, that a lot of women know that they come in with their own bills with them. They need their hair done every 2 weeks, their nails done every 2 weeks.
Yes.
They need to be able to have to, get out with the girls now and then. And all these things.
I ain't got to say nothing.
Yeah, all these things could be taken care of at home. You can do your hair and nails at home. You can have fun in the house with your girlfriends. You don't have to go out and do all of the extravagant things that you think you deserve or you should be able to get because you were doing it for yourself when you were single.
It's all about what you value.
Mm-hmm.
Some people value fun and material things more than they value family.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people don't see it as a worthy sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect everybody to agree with us or get it.
Mm-hmm.
But for those who say I value family at all costs, where there's a will, there is a goddamn going way.
Yeah, there's a way.
There is a way. I'm not accepting that for most people. When you say the average man, now there are people who don't have the ability,
mm-hmm.
but that's not the average man.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is the average woman just don't want to live under the average man's provision.
Exactly.
They want more than what his provision allows.
Yeah. It's honestly the social media. They're comparing themselves to what everybody else has, And they believe that in order to say that I'm successful and that this marriage is successful, my family is successful, I need to look a certain way and drive a certain car.
We got to have matching outfits
Yeah.
and rims on our car. We got to be able to show Instagram pictures of our family trips. Man, when the last time we did a freaking family trip?
We turned our move to here into
that was our family trip. When
Yeah.
we moved across the country, we stopped along the way.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what are we pressing? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Take the kids to the park if you want to get them out.
Yeah.
It's just all kind of ways. I mean, honestly, our situation is unique anyway. When you got 10 people in the house, there's never a dull moment.
Yeah.
We got a basketball court in the front. We literally go out there every day now and play basketball with the kids. These kids ain't missing anything.
No.
The only reason your kids feel like they need that stuff y'all are doing is because you trained them to.
Right.
My kids don't even know what toys to ask for. They don't see the commercials. They watch what we allow them to watch. They know what we talk to them about. They have no idea how some of y'all kids are living. Like, I'm just being honest. Some of y'all are doing way too much for absolutely no reason because y'all allow your children to run your lives.
And what it is people shame you for the way, like we've gotten shamed many times of your kids need to have donuts. Who in the world says something like that? They don't need donuts.
That was a real statement somebody made. That's not an exaggeration.
Yeah. And these are the type of statements that parents are getting. Well, your child ain't got TikTok. Oh, you need to let them on TikTok because that's where all the kids are at and they're having fun on there. That's messed up that you making them be left out.
My 9-year-old got 10,000 followers. I don't give a. So you telling me 10,000 grown adults have access to your child, and that's a flex to you?
Yep.
You know, it's just all in what you value.
Yeah.
Prime VA 757 in the building, sir. Having a frugal woman helps. Proper money management is key. Unfortunately, too many people don't want to do that. Yes, too many people don't on the male and female side, but the women, they particularly got a big issue with this.
Yeah.
But I can't let my men off the hook. I got brothers in their 30s that's still buying Jordans, still got a fitted hat with every outfit. And like, listen, if your income allows it, cool. I just don't want to hear you complain about what you can't do. When you have $200 sneakers on your feet and a different pair every time I see you, that means everything we're talking about you can do.
Yeah.
You just prioritize the drip. That's what you value.
Yeah.
And God bless that. But let's just be real about the conversation there.
Yeah.
The man shouldn't have to work himself to death. This is not to speak negatively on the man or take away from him as a man or the leader. If this woman has to work and help pay bills, that's the extremes we're talking about. Nobody said anything about working to death. I do my own hair, nails, and pedicure.
Bam.
Bingo.
We're
given countless ways on how this is a reality. I don't even know why we always go back to that.
And it's funny too, because a lot of times women aren't trying to do these things
they don't
for
want
their
to
men.
they don't want to understand.
No. I'm just saying, like, they're getting their nails and hair done, and a lot of time it's not even what their husband desires from them. They're not attracted to the long nails. They're not attracted to the wigs and the color and all the other stuff that you're doing to your hair. That's costing him a lot of money. And it's clear that our minds are elsewhere. We're trying to draw attention from other than our husband. Because like, I used to get my nails done all the time. And now and then when I want to, when I feel like looking nice, I'll do them. But my husband doesn't care about my nails.
I was literally, you took the words out my mouth. I was literally about to say, every time you say, I used to get my nails done all the time, blows my mind because I don't ever remember seeing that. I have never looked at your hands and said, oh my God, I gotta have her. That's like, I don't care. I don't care. And to this day, I don't notice that something's missing.
Exactly. I did my I try to keep my toenails done because when I go out, flip-flops, whatever, and I want to have cute toes for my husband as well. And I asked him about my toes and he was like, I didn't even know that you keep your toenails done.
Yeah.
So we're trying to say that we need to do this to upkeep ourselves for our husbands. We like to try to use that excuse, but a lot of times our husbands don't care about the long as you're clean and neat
and pretty.
because
the reality is all that stuff only gets attention in the streets.
Yeah.
Because when you see women doing all of that, to me, it just says she's advertising, she's available. So when you're looking for cheap sex, you care about that stuff.
Because it's a marker.
It's marketing.
Wow.
That's literally what it is. It's marketing. But in the confines of marriage, I've never had one single thought that I wish you would get your nails done. I might as well forget that you have nails. It literally means absolutely nothing to me.
I mean, anytime I've heard you comment on my nails was because I had them done and it didn't feel right.
And I didn't like how you did them.
Or it didn't feel right when I scratched your back.
Okay.
Like, nah, they ain't sharp enough.
Yeah. Unrealistic expectations, period. With the right mindset, the average man can survive. Facts.
Yeah.
May not be forever that the woman has to work, but a woman who can remain faithful when she can't see the end all be all, this just comes from trusting your man. Amen. Anyone can survive. It's really about doing more than that. To you, it's not to me. To me, it's about family and maintaining a healthy dynamic. I would rather be poor and happy. I don't care if we've had nothing before, and I was happier than when we both worked. So I disagree with that.
Yeah. The family unit is the most important.
I'm all for sacrificing for desired results, and to the value of being able to homeschool, knowing my kids are safe at home. I know what they're learning. They're not getting indoctrinated. They're not being influenced by your bad kids. I don't have anything to worry about. My wife is here when I get here with the meal ready for me, sex on demand. That's invaluable. There's no amount of income that could come in to make me change that. Personally.
Yeah.
But that's where I go back to, it's what you value. What you stated may be your truth, or I hate saying that, but your reality in regards to your opinion. And I'm not shaming that.
Right.
That's just not how I feel.
I bet they cute too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, facts. I haven't worn Jordans since 9th grade. Plus they cost way more now. Bro, I don't even know what they cost no more, bro. I'm so out of the loop. And I think I stood in line for some J's in like 2012, something like that, bro. I was like, I'm not doing this no more.
I bought some Jordans before for my oldest son when he was a baby.
That's before I was in the picture. Be advised. Any Jordans in this house now are hand-me-downs. I ain't buying no Jordans.
I bought them, put them on them, wore them once, grew out of them. And I'm like, I was mad because it was expensive. And I'm like, what in the world? So I just hung them up on my rear view mirror as decoration because I'm going to get some use out of these shoes. And it's dumb what we do with our money just to say we did it. Because that was the only reason. I didn't care about sneakers. It was just to say I did it.
No exaggeration. In my experience, everybody that argues back to me about what can't be done have a flashy lifestyle. Every time you look at them, matching outfits, all kinds of drip, fancy cars that you know got a $600 car note.
Yeah.
I've never seen people who said it can't be done and their lifestyle really reflect that reality.
Yeah. It's silly.
Yeah. You had one more video, right?
Yes, okay. One more.
And again, like I said, if you're willing to compromise and get sex every other Wednesday,
Every other Wednesday.
I ain't living that life.
Yeah.
I ain't get married for that.
But don't say that though, because women are going to be upset.
I don't care. I didn't get married for women's opinion. I got married for what I needed out of a wife.
Yeah.
Where we at? Bam. Okay. And the misogynist himself speaks once and for all.
Let's pretend I'm a stay-at-home mom. No, I do not go to the hospital and operate on my husband's patients. That's his job. My job would be childcare, household tasks, Monday to Friday, while my husband is at his job. When my husband gets home from his job, that's when my job of solely being responsible for household tasks and childcare ends. Now we're a team. We're both doing childcare. We're both doing household tasks. We share in bath time, bedtime, making lunches, making appointments, laundry, cleaning, the dishes, making grocery lists, taking inventory of what we need, checking the mail, running errands, feeding the dogs, picking up the dog's shit, wiping butts, and so on and so on. Just because one parent works outside of the home and gets paychecks, it doesn't mean that the parent that's working inside the home works 24/7.
Wrong answer, ma'am. And if I had to guess, that's probably why you have to pretend that you're a stay-at-home mom, because you're a modern woman with no idea what it takes to be a housewife. Ain't no man going for that. And if they do, they ain't gonna be there for long. Your job is your job. And at no point do I share in your responsibility, sweetheart. It's not how life works. Roles are our roles, and I help where I see fit. Never expected.
So I forgot this was your remix. I was gonna ask you how do you respond to that?
You already know how I feel about
Yes.
it.
Yes. When I seen this, I didn't catch that she said if I was a housewife. But when I seen it, I thought she was speaking from the perspective of being a housewife. And I was livid. I was like, you're making us look bad, because that is not, it almost felt like a slight at our job. Like, he needs to step in and do what I can do. It makes me feel like I'm not even valued or needed. I'm not needed in that way. If he can come home and do it anyways, you see what I'm saying? Then I might as well go to work and you hire a nanny. Wow. But it's like when you walk into the kitchen and pour you a cup of water, I know it's just water. And now I'm not going to let it bother me as much as it used to. But when I would see that, I'm like, I feel offended. Like, one, are you upset with me? Two, why are you in my kitchen? This is my area. This is my job. This is what makes me feel good about who I am as a wife. And when you step into my arena, it's like you are taking that from me. I remember we had a conversation with a couple a while ago, and she was complaining that her husband, she's a housewife, but he would come home and say, you're not bathing the kids right, or let me do it. I'll do it. I'll handle it this way. And it hurt her feelings, because she's like, well, what am I even here for? Let me be a mom. Let me do what it is that I'm supposed to do in this home. Just because you're home, and I understand him being a part of the kid's life, helping raise the children, fine. But she was in the middle of doing her job, and he felt like he could do it better. Now imagine if that was switched. If I were to come step into your job and say, I can handle this, I'll do it better, you're not doing it right.
You just taking away all the value and hard work that I put in to get to where I am, to say, oh, ain't nothing, I can do it too.
Right. Yeah, you're taking away what makes me proud of the position that I'm in. Now, on days if maybe I'm tired or just had a baby and you want to step in and you want to go make dinner or do something like that, fine. It's no big deal. But the fact that she's saying it is an expectation that when he gets home, his job continues.
His second shift
starts. And my mindset is, no, when you get home, my second shift starts, or the different part of my job starts, which is you. Now I need to tend to you and your needs, and anything that is happening in the house, I can get to later, because that is the freedom I have from being a housewife. I have time to get to things when I want to. I have time to pace myself if I need to. I don't need to put that on you, because I want you to go out there and win. I don't need for what I'm doing to get in the way of what is going to benefit me and my family, you
Because
know?
if I got to come home to a pouting woman that got dishes waiting for me, I'm more inclined to stop at the bar for happy hour. Hey, listen, women like her is the reason why happy hour exists and is thriving all across America.
Wow.
And even on the point you made, I don't know any man out here, personally, I don't know bad fathers. Most men, when they get off work, they want to greet their kids. They want to play. They want to spend time with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be an expectation that I now become caretaker.
Right.
But of course I'm going to play with my kids. Of course I'm going to spend time with, you put the baby on me sometimes when I get home. Here, take her. She, you know, and it's a thrill for me to embrace my child.
Right.
I'm not about to start changing diapers. You know what I mean? I'm not about to start making meals for everybody so you can now relax. No.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to do stuff, fine. Mm-hmm. It's the expectation that she has that's the problem. Nobody's saying that a man can't help or it's bad if he does stuff.
Right.
But to be expecting somebody to help when you're home all day and had all the time in the world is just nonsense. Mm-hmm. And on the point you made, though, about feeling like I'm overstepping you, mm-hmm. I can relate, because you've done that to me in regards to the children, where mm-hmm. I will have my time now where I'm fathering. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, don't do it that way, do it like this. And I'm like, yo, I had a part in making this person too.
Yeah.
Let me be the dad.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something both sexes can relate to on that part.
Yeah.
Let each other have what it is that you're doing mm-hmm. in your own way and not feel the need to try to step in each other's spaces.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And even when it comes to take care of the kids, yeah, I have my part in being a dad. Yeah. I have my part in discipline. I have my part in their day-to-day, mm-hmm. their upbringing too. But mm-hmm. the things that I know is your role, I still defer to you a lot. Mm-hmm. Be like, hey, you the one that's gonna have to deal with him after this. Mm-hmm. How you think we should handle that? What you think is? Hey, what does he normally eat? Because I don't know. I'm not here. What is he? I don't even know what my kids like mm-hmm. half the time. Just being honest. Mm-hmm. So I'm still deferring to you for that. Mm-hmm. So people make leadership, submission, or these patriarchal concepts we're bringing to be something that undermines you as a woman and gives you no place or authority.
Right.
When actually you just made clear your authority is the kitchen.
Yeah.
You don't even want me there. So part of my respect as a leadership is proper delegation, mm-hmm. is trusting you to do your part. I don't lord over you when you're cooking.
Exactly.
If I like to cook, then when it's my turn, I'm a cook. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to be over you saying maybe a little more salt. Mm-hmm. That might be too much garlic. No.
Right.
You still have authority in your role.
Right. And I ask you for those opinions.
When it comes to what you teaching the kids, I don't know half the time. That's mm-hmm. your role. You got that. Mm-hmm. And then if it's something I would like to see done, I say, hey, can we start including this?
Right.
So, people just create these false pictures, man, and demonize it.
Yeah.
But you even are learning and thriving in your leadership in that role.
Right. Yeah. Because now as a mom of 8, I can now delegate as well. So especially if you're having children, there's no need for you to be bringing your husband coming home and then expecting him to take over your job.
Exactly. Great comment. He has a job outside the home, then has to come home and be at work. So he had 2 jobs and she has 1. No, thank you. Facts.
Mm-hmm. And the argument women would use for that is like, well, our job never ends. It's 24/7.
That's cap.
Which I understand your sentiment, but at the end of the day, you get to break whenever you want to break. You get to chop up your day the way that you see fit. It's not 24/7. You get rest whenever you feel like you need that rest. A man going to work, a man really, just out on his purpose. He, one, a lot of times is answering to a boss, or two, he does not get to choose when he can just sit down. I think we put too much pressure on ourselves as well as housewives, because I recently got a comment from someone saying, well, you don't know what housewives got to do, and we got to have this perfect house and this and that. You don't have to have a perfect house. You have to have a clean, neat, peaceful house.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't have to be perfect, especially if you have kids. Of course, messes are going to keep happening, but
teach them how to clean up.
Put them to work, and don't quit trying to look for perfection. Just make sure when your husband gets home, he has a clear space to walk, he has food on the table, and happy kids and a wife to come home to.
The big issue too, though, people don't want to delegate to their children.
Yeah.
They think kids are supposed to live a life of endless bliss and fun with no responsibility. Yeah. My kids work.
Yes.
You want to talk about punishment? Listen, whippings hurt for the moment. Right. Send them out there to pick some weeds.
Yes.
Get them right. Put them cats to work. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like,
scrub
y'all, we have 10 bodies. At least 5 of them are able to be a helping hand at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So when y'all saying poor you, or you don't want to live your life, I guarantee you that her life is easier than the people presenting those ideas.
Yeah.
Because this is the crazy part. Even if you got a 50-50 marriage, you still cleaning.
Either way, right?
You still cleaning.
It makes no sense. And then y'all most likely won't be home anyways. So, like, I don't know. It's mind-blowing that especially women like her she probably has a whole career.
She does. She's a psychologist. She ain't never home either.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Even when it comes to housewives, most people that make these arguments about how hard it is to be a housewife and it's a 24-hour job with no breaks,
mm-hmm.
majority of them got kids going to school.
Now that's crazy.
And you're sitting around watching Young and Restless for 6 hours, talking about you don't get a break.
You know why it's hard? Because the last hour they jumping up and trying to get everything done at the last minute.
You in the vein.
Because I've been there. So that is a hard life. Yeah. Yes, that is very stressful for you to lounge around and then at the end of the day try to get shit done. Yeah, you're going to be stressed out and you're going to feel like you're overwhelmed and that you got too much to do. That's because you're not properly managing your time.
Yeah, if you're not a homeschool woman, parent, I ain't trying to hear. If your kids are in school during the day,
mm-hmm.
miss me with how hard of a job it is in the 24-hour stuff, because I value the job. It is work.
Mm-hmm.
It is essential. It is big. It's not nothing I'm minimizing,
mm-hmm.
but to act like it's too much to be done and you need the man to step in, that's just not rational.
That's not true. It's actually, and the sad part is a lot of women feel like it's easier to just go to work.
I don't believe that. I think that's their cop-out. I don't believe they really believe that. Because at the end of the day, like I said, they still got to clean when they come home. They just don't have as much time now.
What it is, in reality, it's not that it's easier to go to work. It's more enjoyable.
Bam.
Your mind is like, I want to be out and about. I want to see people. I want to communicate with other
adults. I want to be
seen.
That's
I want to be seen. Yeah.
And then I also want the societal praise that comes with the accolade my career provides. You don't get societal praise for being a housewife.
Mm-hmm.
It is just about your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And most women ain't made that switch in their head yet.
Right.
To value their legacy over societal praise.
Yeah, you're right. It's all about
that's what it's really about.
Yeah.
They don't see the value in knowing the value to give it to their husband and their kid. But society will give you an appearance of value,
mm-hmm.
even though it's fragile and it doesn't really mean anything. It's just a value that exists because we gave it value.
Right. Right. And it doesn't last beyond your death when family does.
It doesn't last beyond you not working there no more.
Right. You're right. That's true. Who's going to be
your
working
family does.
You're right. Yeah.
We still talking about my granddaddy.
Yeah.
He been dead for 3 years.
That's true. Well, he left.
We still talking about Martin Luther King. We still talking about Malcolm X. I mean, anyway, it's very important to understand our gender, sex role according to God. Keep our expectation within those guidelines. Trust each other to do their role for the betterment of the family as a whole. Amen. Yeah. I agree.
Amen. And with that, we can end the show. I think that was a great closeout. But yeah, I just want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight, for supporting and listening to our opinions and our rant. I hope that we helped you find a better understanding of how marriage can work in this dynamic and with a traditional family unit. And we just wanted to dispel a lot of talking points that gets told without being explained exactly what that looks like. So,
Jelly Beth, oh no.
What happened? Aw.
We're going to be back for sure.
Yeah.
Marriage Monday will be a regular thing.
Absolutely.
At least once a month.
At least once a month.
At least once a month.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else?
Yeah. No, actually, that's it. So
yeah, we tried to show y'all her new intro in the beginning, and for whatever reason it was glitching. So we would love to show you it now for those who did hang out long enough, because this is a brand new song that me and Jasmine worked on together, and I feel bad that her hard work did not get to go on display.
Right.
So let's go ahead and give this one more shot, and if it doesn't work this time, we'll just post the intro by itself as a post.
Okay. That's cool.
What was you about to say?
And I just want to close out with, once again, my name is Jasmine and this is Driscoll. This channel is Family Values, where we discuss all things marriage and family. So be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified on our future shows. And please leave a comment down below so we can get the algorithms going. Share it to someone who you think may need this conversation.
Amen.
All right. God bless you.
Try this again.
Oh, yeah.
Salute to everybody who tuned in, especially those who stayed the whole time, man. Let us know in the comments what you want to hear us talk about in the future. Let's go. Yeah. Been waiting a minute for this one. Yeah.
Girl, you got my whole world messy like toilet paper. It's not a day in the world that I don't pray for you, that you will get through your pain. Oh, don't let the weight of the world make you feel so pressured. Ain't no way that a girl could all alone fight through this quest when filled with too much shame. Oh, nothing more precious in this world, you're my limelight. In a room full of girls, I keep my eyes on you. In this evil world, I will be your protector. Up on top of the world, there will be no pressure. Place your weight on my shoulders, that's a noble gesture. Share your pain with me so we can grow together. And bring me to one knee, our souls are more together. Girl, you know you're special. Ha. Whoa, yeah.
Boy, in the darkest of days, I'll give you all the pleasure. Hoping to spark new ways to give you all your treasure. When demons all around, I will still trust you. Ain't afraid to hold you down if the world judge you. Could move away to any town, there would be no one around who can break the love we found. Oh, baby, you in control is healing me, bringing sweeter memories. So complete, your love's profound. Oh, baby.
Whoa, nothing more precious in this world, you're my limelight. In a room full of girls, I keep my eyes on you. In this evil world, I will be your protector. Up on top of the world, there will be no pressure. Place your weight on my shoulders, that's a noble gesture. Share your pain with me so we can grow together. And bring me to one knee, our souls are more together. Girl, you know you're special. Ha. Whoa, yeah. Said I spent my whole life running, from everything running, always running, every day running, I'm always running, this ain't running, but I keep running back to you. Said I spent my whole life running, from everything running, always running, every day running, I'm always running, I'm this ain't running, but I keep running back to you. Can't even believe I'm writing this song, your love has captured me. My lines ain't sink this deep since the girl that catfished me. I told you all my flaws and still you went to bat for me. Shorties tried me in these streets, you'd even scrap for me. But seems somewhere along the line, I swear our feelings have changed. Conversations getting slim and we ain't chilling the same. Lord, ignite this passion till we can't remember our pain. Pray this match made in heaven will rekindle our flames. Said I spent my whole life running, from everything running, always running, every day running, I'm always running, this ain't running, but I keep running back to you. Said I spent my whole life running, from everything running, always running, every day running, I'm always running, I'm insane running, but I keep running back to you. Now that I have you, I feel so comfy, I say this to my demise. Struggling with you brought me the greatest days of our lives. Felt free to say I was broken, you see the pain in my eyes. Bless me with your free spirit and ease the shame in my mind. I can hide nothing from you, I surrender this game. 50-50 me, we both just out here giving the blame. If we could both just give 100, we could win at this thing. But life's a mess, we gotta die before we truly can reign. Said I spent my whole life running, from everything running, always running, every day running, I'm always running, this ain't running, but I keep running back to you. Said I spent my whole life running, from everything running, always running, every day running, I'm always running, I'm insane running, but I keep running back to you. Back to you, baby.